We're now joined by Diana Mohyi, an attorney here in Greater West Bloomfield community, helping her clients navigate divorce, child custody, etc. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Diana.
Thank you for having me.
Diana, can you first tell us a little bit about your path to becoming an attorney and what inspired you to pursue this occupation?
Well, I think that my path to becoming an attorney started with just my love of reading. As a child, I just gravitated towards reading books. I ended up in high school reading War and Peace, books that were hundreds of pages long, and I just really enjoyed the experience of basically seeing the world through someone else's eyes, seeing other people's arguments, and the reasoning for things. You also see whether it's a novel or something factual, you just have a different way of seeing the world after you've read that book.
Diana, can you give us some insight into the types of clients that you are working with at the moment, whether that is someone that is struggling with divorce, child custody, etc.?
So I'm a divorce and family law attorney, which means that not only do I help with divorce, but also other family law issues. For example, guardianships and conservatorships for a caregiving role. I also do prenuptial agreements, as well as child support and child custody. And little known things that I may also do is grandparent visitation. For example, if you are a grandparent, you have also a right to visit with your grandchild, assuming that you're not going to cause harm. And I may potentially be able to assist you with getting visitation with your grandchild, especially where the parents are either in the middle of a divorce or there's some barrier to you having access to your grandchildren.
Diana, if there is a viewer looking for an attorney to help with some of these issues that they might be having, what is the initial conversation that you have with them, and what type of advice do you give going into the process?
Well, it's always fact gathering at first. I can't know until I get the full picture. Every situation is different, and the challenge with the law is there's not really a one-fits-all. Yes, there can be laws promulgated out there, but in the end, I have to know what your situation is and whether it really requires a court intervention. And based on that, then I start suggesting to the client what a path might be that would be helpful to them to help them find a solution to the challenge that they're facing.
Diana, you also have a blog on your website where you talk about frequently asked questions or concerns that a client might have. Can you first explain what was the inspiration behind starting that blog in addition to helping your clients that you work with?
Well, many people just have basic questions that are no-brainer for someone like me. I mean, as I said, I do this for a living. So things that are commonplace in my world are not so common in other people's knowledge of the world. And so my blog aims to basically start by answering the very simple, basic questions and to kind of present to people that I am doing my best to become more of an expert in my area. Obviously, every attorney provides a different kind of service in that, for example, divorce and family law is very personal. So you're going to have perhaps a closer relationship with that attorney. And by reading my blog and my posts, you may be able to get a flavor of my personality and see if it might be a fit for you.
And what are some of those recent blogs that you've written on your website there? Are there a couple of topics that are more frequently asked than others? And what are some of the things that you've been currently writing about?
So there has been a trend with older gray-haired divorces, quote unquote. And with that, people tend to have more assets as they grow older. And so I have to understand those assets, how best to divide them, and how to advise clients in what path to go to come to resolution in their divorce. So that's one example. In terms of other things, I mean, there's almost nothing new under the sun in a sense. So there might be certain concerns that come afresh, such as with child custody issues. There are certain concerns in today's environment about vaccinations and all that, and how it affects someone's rights in a custody dispute or in an existing custody agreement. So those are the kinds of things that I might highlight because they are just practical concerns, everyday concerns that people have in their families and their loved ones. I also think it's very important to be aware of what's going on in your family dynamics. For example, perhaps that you've delegated the caregiving of an older relative to a certain family member, but no one's giving oversight to that situation. And so I also aim to just educate people about the pitfalls of certain situations.
Diana, as we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share about your practice that may be helpful to our viewers here on the Splash Live?
If it is a family-related issue, I may handle it. Otherwise, I may be able to refer you to someone who does more of what that situation is. But not everything is, as I said, a one-fits-all solution. And I just would request the opportunity to see if I can assist someone or point them in the right direction. Because it's never a good idea to just go it alone, and you only know what you know. So there's no harm in asking and getting a little bit of direction from someone who does a certain area constantly, 24/7. Whereas this is something you may just have stepped into because of the life changes that are occurring.
Well, Diana, thank you so much for joining us this morning and taking time out of your day to talk with us.
Thank you so much for having me.